What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Nuggets Talk Recap. I am your host, Leonard Pinckney, here for the recap between the Toronto Raptors and the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray's homecoming. Always loves coming back to playing in his home country and home city of Toronto. I believe it's not too far from his actual hometown. So always nice for Jamal to come back, and let's go ahead and get into the recap, y'all. First quarter, 6:58 mark. Denver went up 9-7. Actually, Toronto was up 9-7. Excuse me. Nuggets got off to a slow start. They started 3 for 9, and they were taking advantage of Jamal Murray on some switches. He got caught out on switches on Barnes, on Siakam, and they were going inside the post. Even Anunoby had a chance going against Jamal in the post, so they had to try to figure that out and remedy it, and they ultimately did. At the 47-second mark of the first quarter, Denver went up 29-20, and this is when the Nuggets offense started to hit their stride again. They had started 3 for 9. And then for the rest of the quarter, went 10 of 15, ended up leading 29-20 after that first quarter. Second quarter, Nuggets were up 36-29 at the 9:08 mark. So the bench unit came in, and they did great. Christian Braun had a almost incredible poster, but Zeke Naji got an offensive foul. It kind of wasn't Zeke's fault too much. Boucher just ran into him, and Zeke wasn't looking, and I guess that warrants an offensive foul. Regardless, Zeke, you still owe Christian Braun dinner tonight because that was a great dunk by CB. They went up 12 at the 5-12 mark, 45-33. Just all around great hoop, especially from this bench unit, and their defense was playing great. They were holding Toronto to 41% shooting. Peyton Watson had a really nice dunk. He had 7 points off the bench at this point. Julian and Reggie both had 4, and Christian Braun had 3. Zeke was trying, but man, we need to get this man in the gym and teach him to just do Micah drills for the rest of his career, because this dude every time he's around the rim, it feels like he's holding a hot potato, because this man finishing is not his strong suit. It's just me being very nice about it. Denver went up 61-44 at the half. Nuggets were shooting 55% to Toronto's 42. Every player on the Nuggets was in the positive, every single one, except for Zeke. Jamal had 11. Jamal had 11. AG had 10. Jokic had 9, 5, and 4. 9:12 mark, 66-51. Timeout for Denver it was a timeout after a turnover. And then at the 3:18 mark, it was 81-62. Nuggets were cruising. The funny thing about this point is that they were up 19, and they hadn't shot a free throw yet for the entire game. After this timeout, Jokic shot an and one, and that was their first free throw of the night. It was 90-75 after 3. Jokic was up to 21, 12, and 5. At the 6:28 mark, it was 96-88. This was the closest that the game got in the entire second half. Toronto was just starting to make some shots. They're not a really good three-point shooting team, but they started to hit a couple. Dennis Schroeder hit one. Precious Achiuwa hit one. So guys who I'm okay with Schroeder is a good shooter, but Precious Achiuwa hitting one was just whatever. But even with Toronto hitting a couple shots and getting that lead close, I never felt like this was in doubt. Denver was able to put their starters back in and pretty much stem the tide every time Toronto tried to make a run. The Denver starters found a way to calm the offense down and get a bucket. Toronto did go zone here in the fourth quarter, and they did have some effect on Denver's offense. They slowed it down a bit. But once Jokic got in the game, started getting the ball in the middle of the zone, it was over, and it was easy to score at that point. And the Nuggets were able to hold on, 113-104. Everyone's favorite topic. What did Jokic do tonight? 31, 15, and 6. His 400th career double-double. Congrats, big fella. You continue to do amazing things for this franchise and for this fan base. We love you so damn much. He only had 9 points at the half, and he turned it up a little bit in the second half, went into second gear with 21 points after the break. He turned it up when he needed to. Toronto was making that mini comeback during little stretches here in the fourth, but Jokic decided, hey, it's time for me to go ahead and get some buckets. I'm going to go ahead and get some buckets. And he did that in the second half. Made all the right plays like he usually does. Another dominant performance from our big guy. The rest of the starters, the collective was definitely better than the individual tonight. Because if you look at the stats from the starters on their face, it's not that great. Murray had 20 points, but it was on 9 of 22 shooting. AG had 12 points and 5 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. also had 12 points, but it was on 5 of 13 shooting. And KCP had 10 points, only 10 points, albeit on 4 or 5 shooting. But the larger point I obviously want to illustrate is that these totals and these stat lines are just okay when you're looking at them just at a box score. But if you watch the game, you could see how well this unit worked together, especially in that first half. Man, Toronto had nothing for them. The Nuggets didn't even have to shoot a free throw for them to get incredible looks the entire night, mostly in that first half, but the entire night, man. That starting unit looked great. They were moving the ball, making the right plays. Every time there was a fluctuation point, you'd have a KCP three, you'd have a Jamal bucket, you'd have a Michael Porter Jr. three, you'd have AG making the right play. Like everyone was just working in cohesion. And that's what happens when you play the Nuggets, man. I harp on it all the time. This team is so fluid offensively. If you are going to beat them, you have to be just as good offensively because they will get good shots almost every single time. And if you can't keep up with that offensively, it's going to put a lot of pressure on you, not just offensively, but defensively, because you're like, damn, if we don't get at least a couple stops here, we know that they're good. If we don't get a couple stops here, man, it might be over for us because offensively, if we're not perfect offensively, they're going to be really good offensively. So I'm really happy with I'm happy with the starters just getting healthy. You know, AG was dealing with that heel thing, and he still kind of is. He talks about it. Michael Porter Jr. Rolled his ankle a bit in this game, but he was fine. And he's talked about his ankle injury during the preseason. Jamal Murray's coming back from his stuff, so these guys are toughing it out. But when that starting unit is together, man, it's the best starting five in the league, and they've shown it very much in this recent stretch, but tonight, especially when the game got close, they were able to keep Toronto at arm's length and close this one out. And last but not least, I'm not going to talk about the entire bench unit. I think everyone was pretty much fine, but we are going to shine a light on Peyton Watson one more time, guys. He's been incredible. 11 points tonight on 5 of 6 shooting, and he nailed another 3. What I also thought was a notable thing for Peyton tonight was that when the bench unit had a tough stretch in the end of the third and the beginning of the fourth, Jokic and Murray came back into the game around the 9-minute mark of the fourth quarter. But Peyton and CV were the last two bench guys to get subbed out. And then when Porter came back in, Peyton Watson was the last bench player to be subbed out of this game in the fourth quarter. I thought that was notable. He was playing really well defensively, and obviously offensively, he was picking his spots really well. And I think that's a reward to him from the coaching staff, especially Malone, saying, hey, kid, you playing really well for us right now. We're going to keep you in as long as you can, or as long as we can before we got to put all the starters in. But you're not hurting us. You're helping us. And we know that if you're on the court, this is not only going to help you grow, but it's keeping us in positions to win games. And I'm super proud of Peyton to be in this position right now. He's grown immensely, man, and he continues to do so. The jump shot tonight, I know I said in the past that I don't think he's going to be that great of a shooter in his career, but the confidence and the stroke tonight were the two things that really stood out to me with his jumper tonight. It still doesn't look that pretty, but like he was shooting it in a way that was just mad confident, and you could tell when a shooter is shooting with confidence, even if the release might not be prototype, you can see it with the arc and how it's going or how the shot is going that it looks like it's going to go in, and that's what Peyton looked like tonight. And it's what his jump shot has looked like the past couple of games. He's hit threes in like his last 4 or 5 nights. So like I'm very happy with what he's doing with his jumper as well. I think that he's found something maybe with his release, his timing, whatever it may be. Whatever he's doing, he needs to keep doing it because it's helping him keep his confidence from the perimeter. And if he has any confidence from the perimeter with the way with how athletic he is and the way he finishes, he's going to continue to do great things for us. So keep growing, Peyton. We appreciate you, dog. A little bit of stats talk. Nuggets shot exactly 50%. I think it was 49 for 98. Toronto got their percentage up to 48%. We out-rebounded the Raptors by 4 and out-assisted them by 3 for the Raptors. Big-time Scotty Barnes night. Once again, this dude is he's been having a great season so far for Toronto. 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Good on you, Scotty. Nice night for you, for the Raptors. So now for Denver. After a 3-game losing streak at the beginning of this month, the Nuggets have now won 5 of 6 games and now moved their record to 19-10, which ties them for second in the Western Conference. Minnesota lost tonight, so we're getting really close to having the same record. We've just played 3 more games than them for some reason. Our schedule's been so condensed. It's been really annoying, but I think Denver's going to go on a nice little run here. I talked about how they're going to have this home stretch soon after 2 more road nights. going to have a back-to-back soon, but I think they're going to do well, especially when they're coming back for the holidays. They're going to play Brooklyn next on Friday, and then I believe they play a back-to-back after that on Saturday before they come back home on Monday to play the Christmas game. So hopefully they have the same success that they had against Brooklyn last Thursday as they do on Friday. They beat them 124-101. They were coming off the second night of a back-to-back coming to Denver, so obviously that's a really hard back-to-back to go into. But that being said, the Nuggets should still be able to keep things cohesive, and if they play their game, they should be able to get another victory over this team. Thank you guys for listening to the Nuggets Talk recap. I am your host, Leonard Pinckney. Once again, appreciate your time. See you next time.